Welcome back to American Ground Radio. I'm Stephen Parr with Louis R. Avalone.
Now, you know that condo that collapsed in Miami.
Right.
On Miami Beach, near Miami Beach.
What an awful, awful story.
Just absolutely horrible. But for liberals,
Yeah.
it's a crisis that should not go to waste.
Okay, so how are they exploiting this crisis?
Rising seas. Rising seas.
Oh, my God.
They say rising seas have long pressured Miami coastal properties, and that the 12-story condo tower that crashed down early yesterday morning
Right.
did so because of rising seas, because
I
it
see.
was built on reclaimed wetlands, and they say it's...
So it was built on an area that was already kind of swampy and underwater by definition.
Which is
And now you're
mainly
saying-
all of Miami.
And now you're saying the water rose, the water that was already covering the ground that they pumped out. Now, but see, look at the pictures. That parking lot is dry. This isn't sea level change. There's something else that happened here. And for anybody to state definitively what the cause of this was, they don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Oh, no, they go into great detail.
They have no idea. Have they done an analysis
No,
of the
of
concrete?
course not.
Have they looked at the understructure? Have they looked at the foundation of it? Have
Sure.
they seen if there's a sinkhole that's developed
No,
underneath
there's
there?
going to be lots of time for discovery, because there's going to be a lot of lawsuits.
Of course there is.
certainly in terms of the engineer and the architect.
But
and
you know
the
what hasn't
contractor.
happened? The first floor of that building was not inundated by seawater. We know that for a fact.
Well, they claim that because it was built on a barrier island facing an ocean that they say has risen a foot in the past century due to climate change.
it hasn't risen a foot. And by the way, barrier islands, by their own nature, are not permanent. Barrier islands change all the time as part of a natural process. This is, again, I have a master's degree in geosciences. This is one of the things that we had to study, was how barrier islands change over time. Sometimes they will change with hurricanes. Sometimes they just change with the natural flow of sediment along a coast. That's why barrier islands exist. They are temporal.
Well,
they are not permanent.
Just count on the liberals to point to this crisis, to this disaster, this tragedy, anytime anyone wants to build something that's multi-story, even remotely close to a wetland.
It's irresponsible to say that this was sea level change. You haven't done any analysis. And by the way, they're still pulling bodies out of that. Can we stop the political grandstanding for just a moment until we get all the bodies out of the building?
But for the left, you never let a good crisis go to waste.